So we have now the 1 to go signal from Josh Lyles. Getting ready and set to go, ladies and gentlemen. These are the men who live by the grace of God in 600 horsepower. The Ground Pounders, the Mod Squad, the North-South Shootout Modifieds. Watch them off turn number 4, and Josh Lyles sends them on their way. Brings it back to the line without any issues, Eric, and we have the first of 150 laps in the books.
We talked about that young blood. It's at the front of the pack. Caleb Petty. It was a good night for Kentucky last night after Ben Rhodes wrapped up the truck championship. Caleb said he's got some motivation from that underneath him. The Shelbyville, Kentucky native leads the opening lap to the North-South Shootout.
And there is Jimmy Blewett in that white number 76 trying to work the top line of the speedway, taking spots away. And that is the battle out there on the racetrack for the 5th position as he is challenging Ronnie Williams on the outside.
That's a precarious position for Blewett to be in, even this early in the race. All it takes is the slightest bit of contact to stuff him up to the outside retaining wall. But he's got a good run going there on the top side as Burt Myers hunts the lead.
2 by 2, Chris Pasteryak looks to the inside of Patrick Emmerling in that 07 machine. Pasteryak has a good run down the front straightaway. They're actually got that car faster. They had float problems in the carburetor in practice, so once they got that fixed, they were very happy with the performance of that 75 machine.
So Burt Myers has gone to the point. Pasteryak second, Hetty back to third, Emmerling in fourth. And you see the first side-by-side battle continuing between Jimmy Blewett outside, Ronnie Williams inside, as those two cars are attached at the side Nerf bars off the corner. That race for 5th has been wheel-to-wheel for the last few laps.
And here's an interesting statistic right now. Matt Hirschman is running 22nd in a 23-car field.
Yeah, that's not sure he's going to stay there all that much throughout the day, as he's certainly biding his time. Got a car off the pace on the backstretch. Saw it momentarily. That was Craig Lutz, and the caution is going to fly. The bad luck for Hillbilly Motorsports appears to carry over here to the North-South Shootout.
I'm telling you, they're working.
Disco, who was very hyped. This is, in fact, one of the newest cars.
In many cases in the past, drivers have been able to just skip their way up to the front of the field by just being able to use that choose cone to get some outside or inside lanes and be able to make some more passes. So here we are, we're getting ready to go back to the restart. 1 lap to go, 144 laps in the books, and Burt Myers, your defending Smart Modified champion, leads the way.
Good news for Kyle Sisko. He's going to rejoin the race. Bad news for Craig Lutz. That car is still up on the jack stands. The field is a half a lap away from the upcoming restart. Still a long way to go. We've seen that top line work a little bit so far here with the Tommy Baldwin Racing cars. Let's see what Caleb Petty could do outside of our 2021 Smart Modified champion, Burt Myers. They get set to lead us back down to the restart.
Pace car pulls off to the inside. You're looking at Josh Lyles as he throws the green flag and lets this field go one more time, and we are back underway. Great battle, 2 by 2, about 5 to 6 rows deep, and there's Hetty up on the outside, getting the advantage and moving into that runner-up spot, Eric.
Yeah, they got a good run off of turn 4. Able to slot up and cement that second position. Now it's Patrick Emmerling trying to lead the outside train here. After finishing runner-up in the Wheel of Modified Tour points, contact behind them as it looks like Jonathan Keeman. No, that's Gary Putnam who got knocked aside. They're able to keep it straight and come back to the line here with Ronnie Williams getting around Emmerling.
We're seeing more and more drivers trying that top lane of the track. Oh, Brian Lofton gets tagged from behind and gets sideways, but he's able to hold on to the spot. And he is to the inside of Jonathan Brown as they continue to run 2 by 2, 2 rows deep.
Jonathan Brown and Buddy Ellis have a good relationship, not only together, but here at Caraway Speedway. In fact, won one of the last Smart Modify races that was held here at this track, and they're trying to continue that streak as Ronnie Williams dives down low on Pasteryak. Pastriak's going to leave the door open. That's the fight for third.
Great battles going on right now within the top 5. Ronnie Williams did a fine job earlier this year at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, finishing 4th in that 4-wide finish. That was very thrilling to watch, but we are seeing them start to getting to their pattern right now. We're seeing more of them filing into that single file line, but as soon as I say that, there goes Ronnie Williams diving to the bottom of Chris Pasteryak in the 75.
Ronnie Williams racing the car that is owned by Jamie and Cheryl Tomeno, the 1990 Wheel and Modified Tour champion. Ronnie's been given the keys to this race car a couple of times this season so far, trying to make the best of it here at the North-South Shootout, and that car appears to be one of the quickest ones early in this race, starting to pressure Caleb Petty as we got a car off the pace. That's Jonathan Brown slowing in turn 2.
Tough break for Jonathan Brown, that number 24 machine, the AmeriFast Supply R&W siding sponsored entry. The driver hailing from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Jonathan Brown, he'll knock you down.
And I had a chance to see Buddy Ellis earlier in the pit area. Turns out we don't live that far away from each other in Mooresville, North Carolina. And the last time Jonathan Brown was in competition to modify was 2 weeks ago at Ace Speedway. Had to borrow the wheels from Buddy Ellis in this team as he elected to bring out the team that he normally runs at Bowman Gray Stadium with. Was able to drive that car to victory lane. He and Buddy got to talking post-race. They put a deal together for, at the very least, this race, and for who knows how much more. This is not the result they were hoping for, though, as Brown's car remains stationary up on the top of the racetrack in 2.
Jonathan Brown won here back on the 9/11 Memorial Weekend on September 11th here at Caraway. Other winners at Caraway this year include Gary Putnam in that number 77 car. Putnam currently runs 15th in the field. And there is the push truck catching up with Jonathan Brown and probably going to take him back to the pit area.
Yeah, the question is now going to be, will there be enough time to get that car repaired? We saw a couple of machines already have a little bit of misfortune. Craig Lutz being the first. His car is yet to return to the racetrack. Kyle Sisko, however, did rejoin the field. He's back out there. We're hoping for the same fortune for Jonathan Brown.
You know, Craig Lutz has yet to come out onto the racetrack, but if you really think about it, they haven't gone many laps, so he won't be that many laps down if they can get him out there soon. Because right now, as these caution laps keep going along, it's just going to help Craig Lutz because it gives the team more time to get some work completed on that number 79 machine.
And in the past, hopefully I'm not foreshadowing too much here, this has been at times a race of attrition. So being able to keep in it and stay in the game and put yourself back out there, even if you're a few laps down, that could offer up a pretty big swing in terms of prize money and purse money if you can gain some spots, as that Buddy Ellis team, the car owners champions of the 2021 Smart Modified Tour, take off the hood cover and start looking at the power plant on that number 24 car.
And from what the car owners were telling me, they had upwards of 3 different drivers in that car this year.
Yeah, a number of them. John Smith, who won at Franklin County with it. Jonathan Brown, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series driver. Danny Bone also had opportunities to wheel this car. In fact, wheeled it to an owner's championship, and Jonathan Brown was one of them. And we're going to throw it down to Tony Stevens with an update for us.
Well, it looks like John Boy Brown may be done here today. They took the air cleaner off, and no sooner than they had it off, he was taking the gloves off and the belt, so he'll be climbing out prematurely here, it looks like.
Tough break. Yeah, Jonathan Brown, like you said, pulling the
to make the top plane for the rest of this race, or Hirschman as well.
down. If he continues it from Josh, safe number 1. Here we go. They pick up the RPM coming off of turn number 4. The right foot goes down. We're back underway. Williams giving challenge on the outside. Going to try to make that outside lane work because he saw Jimmy Blewett using it. So gave it a shot, but it does not work for Williams as he continues to run in the second spot on the inside.
Pasteryak now trying to breathe a brave soul to make the top lane work. Gets around Caleb Petty, now crosses under to try to go inside of Ronnie Williams for second spot. Williams shuts the door before Pasteryak can get there as we're single file across the front 5.
You know, it was one of those monkey see, monkey do situations there. Jimmy Blewett going up to the top line of the track, making some passes. Some spotters probably saw that and said, hey, you know, the 76 is making some hay up on the outside. You might want to give the top line a shot.
Starting to spread out just a little bit here across this front three. Hard to say that spreading out is a separation of about 2 car lengths, but the race for the lead has been hot and heavy since the drop of the green flag here, as we had a car nudge the wall off of turn 2. That might have been Dean Ward in the 12 who could have white-walled the tires there on corner exit, losing a spot to Brian Lofton.
Yeah, he's got Lapsevich right to the inside of him as well. And yes, Dean Ward did white wall the right side of those tires as he breaks the car sideways coming off the corner. And Gary Young Jr. putting some pressure to Dean Ward as he tries to work underneath him for the spot.
So you watch Dean Ward continue to try to hang on there on the top side of the racetrack. His son Dylan not too far behind. Want to pass along this nugget, courtesy of Justin Mincy. They're the first father-son duo to make the A main of the North-South Shootout since 2008. For Carl and Charlie Pastriak as the racing continues throughout the top 10.
Actually, Carl and Charlie Pastriak are brothers.
Oh, my mistake there.
Chris Pastriak and Charlie Pastriak are father and son. But still, very cool stat, and we are watching a great battle right there. Lapsevich had to spike the brakes to let Emmerling in so they wouldn't make contact, and that's exactly what happened. Emmerling took the spot away. Jeremy Gerstner had to jump on the binders for just a minute, but a smart heads-up move by Caden Lapsevich.
Caden is someone who's another one of those young drivers looking to make a splash here. So far, doing a great job in this race, even though we're only 20 laps in. And Ronnie Williams is starting to turn up the heat here on Burt Myers.
Ronnie Williams, fast all day yesterday in practice, actually held the top spot in qualifying for a short period of time before he was taken off the pole by Matt Hirschman. So Ronnie Williams having a very strong car here, of course, out of the Jamie Tomeno stables. And right now, he's challenging for the lead going into 3.
Ronnie Williams able to open up that bottom lane for the time being. Burt's giving him plenty of room, and he's able to use that top side to hold the lead at the stripe. But Williams inching closer up the side of that Fury Race Cars number 1. He's going to power his way up alongside off 2 as we're side by side for the lead.
Well, Burt Myers being the veteran right now, just letting him go, realizing, okay, we're still very early in this race. You want it, go on ahead. So the young bull goes and takes off from the old bull, and he starts to put some distance between himself and second place. But the big question is can they stay like that the whole race?
Yeah, Ronnie Williams is definitely one of the drivers who has been pressing hard early in the going in this race, as all these teams have 4 tires left in the pit area. As we wind down this live look-in and preview of this running of the North-South Shootout here on pitroad.tv. For those of you watching along across our social media platforms, head on over to Pit Road TV, Speed Sport TV, or Caraway Speedway TV to catch the rest of the 19th running of the John Blewett III Memorial 19th Annual North-South Shootout here at Caraway.
And Eric, just a quick update from the Back Road Challenge. Matt Hirschman is now up to the 18th position. So slowly but surely just picking them off one at a time as we get through this race. And now looking a little further deeper into the field, there's that number 99 machine of Lapsevich as he is racing with Dean Ward in the number 12. That's for the 9th and the 10th positions out there.
Just ahead of them, that number 55 in the GMR Motorsports entry, driven by Jeremy Gerstner. They hail from Wesley Chapel, Florida, usually run the full slate at Bowman Gray Stadium, and also ran the entire Smart Modified Tour, pressuring the backside of Patrick Emmerling for 7th spot. Looking for a way by here as Emmerling appears to be in a bit of a conservation mode at this point in this race, but Gerstner looking high.
And Jeremy Gerstner, one of those drivers with a brand new car on order from PSR Products. He's going to have a brand new modified that they're going to run next year. So they're really excited about racing at Bowman Gray Stadium. And of course, on the Smart Modified Tour, contact, slight contact a little bit of a tire rub between the right rear and the left front of Emmerling and Gerstner. And Gerstner looking high, looking low, and it looks like he's being held up by the 07 of Emmerling.
One of the biggest things that we could see is the gap up to the next car ahead of these two, and Caleb Petty beginning to open up a little bit. Thus the reason for the urgency that Gerstner is showing. Try to get around Patrick Emmerling, who may be trying to bide his time and leave himself enough ammunition to launch an all-out assault at the end of this race, with this battle continuing off into 3.
30 laps are in the books. There's 120 to go. And a little bit of contact again right there as Gerstner gets into the back end of Emmerling. Patrick Emmerling, a 2-time, or I believe it is 3-time ROC Modified champion. So he has a lot of experience in modifieds under his belt. Former winner at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, a 3-time winner on the Tour this year, finished second in the points to Justin Bonsignore.
Been a handful of NASCAR Xfinity races this season as well for our motorsports, and what was an opportunity of a lifetime. So we got Brian Lofton off the pace on the back straightaway.
Lofton slow. He is past the access road. He's trying to get down to the pit road, but now the yellow lights go on, and it looks like that red and white shady Grady machine will come to a stop and draw the caution flag. Tough break for Brian Lofton. He is your 2008 NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour champion.
Driver who was one of the championship 3 in the Smart Modified Tour finale, along with eventual champion Burt Myers and John Smith, and that was despite not being able to reach victory lane in 2021 with this Shady Gray Racing team. They did it twice in 2020, and just a short while ago he watched his young, I should say very young son Carson, grab a top 5 to 602 modified race.
Very young.
Very young.
We're talking 11, 12 years old young.
I remember hanging out at the kart track with Jamie McMurray about a few months ago, and he was talking about how young some of these racers are nowadays, and he admitted, and I'm right there with him, we didn't even know how to walk and chew gum at the same time, let alone drive a race car. So it's incredible how young these kids are starting, and Father Brian have a little bit of a problem here with 117 laps to go in this race.
You know, a little funny story that I got for you, talking about how young these drivers are. Last year, Max McLaughlin won the North-South Shootout. Well, when I started racing on dirt, I started in the 125 division at the Millbridge Speedway. And in the division with us, we had Carson Elledge, who is the granddaughter of Dale Earnhardt.
Right.
We had Max Kennan, the son of Jerry Kennan, longtime crew chief. And, of course, Max McLaughlin in the field as well. And we're talking about kids that were 11, maybe 12 years old. So here I am with about 20-plus years of midget racing experience under my belt. And after the third night of racing, little Max McLaughlin walks up to me and shakes my hand and says, "Hey, buddy, for only your third time on dirt, you're doing a great job."
What a role reversal.
I sat there like, "Oh, you little brat." I couldn't believe it. 20-something years behind the wheel, and I got an 11-year-old kid telling me I'm doing a great job.
Oh, that's awesome.
Let's go down to the pit area and see what Tony Stevens has got for us. Tony?
Well, Brian Lofton has the car pushed into his pit stall. The car has zero fire underneath the hood. Crew very, very slowly going to the backside, possibly a battery issue, something along those lines, as that seems to be where they are directing most of their attention, is at the left rear of this race car. But the speed at which they are addressing it, all of them by our accounts take
Ready to go back to the restart area.
It's going to be Ronnie Williams and Burt Myers bringing us down for the start. 33 laps in the books. We're back underway.
Everybody bunching up just a little bit as they come off turn number 2. Ronnie Williams leads the charge down the back straightaway. Chris Pastriak challenging for that second position to the inside of Burt Myers in the number 1 car.
Pastriak trying to make a move for position. Gerstner just behind. Kyle Sisko back up into the top 5. What a rebound for that team here as he runs in 5th. Pastriak makes the move down low, surges ahead off the corner. Gerstner trying to fill the hole, side by side for 3rd at the line.
After talking with Charlie Pastriak earlier in the day, he was really confident going into this race. And right as we talk about that, let's go downstairs to Tony Stevens. Tony? Okay. We'll catch back up with Tony in just a little bit, but as all of that is going on, Chris Pastriak working on the back bumper of Ronnie Williams in that number 99 machine. Jeremy Gerstner coming into the 3rd spot right now.
Gerstner is someone who absolutely loves being at the racetrack. I mean, who doesn't? But to travel the long distance he does in such a frequent basis certainly says a lot about both he and his supporters. The family-owned and operated organization that he's been able to put together from the ground up here. He's the driver, the crew chief, and the owner of that operation. Had a great year in the Smart Modified Tour. Had an up-and-down year at Bowman Gray Stadium. And he's running top 3 at the moment with so many of the biggest names in modified racing all around him. Pastriak next on his hit list as Ronnie Williams continues to click off the laps here.
And Eric, just to fill you in on the Matt Hirschman watch, he is already up to the 9th spot from dead last. So Hirschman on the move with 111 laps to go. Hirschman taking that back road challenge to try to win an extra $2,000 here today.
This race is unfolding in Matt Hirschman fashion, slowly, quietly starting to creep up into the picture as far as being a contender here this afternoon, as this top 5 just won't go away. Everybody taking different approaches to both the entry and exit of these 4 corners around this just over 4/10 mile track. Pastriak.
There looks like there's some fluid down in the corner right now in 3 and 4. There is actually one car going around. That looks like Ward in that number 12 machine. Dean Ward in the AAR roofing car, but look at, you can see it. You can see that shiny stuff right there, the strip of it on the racetrack. I saw it when they were going into the corner. Pastriak got the car sideways, able to gather it up, but there's Dean Ward from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and he'll be getting that number 12 pointed in the right direction and clean all the chunks of rubber off those tires.
It was a great catch, Derek. At first, I thought Pastriak just got really loose there off the corner, but you immediately noticed the fact that there definitely appears to be something on the racing surface over in turn 4 that the hardworking track crew here at Caraway Speedway will do their best to check on. Fortunately for Ward, no major damage to that car, though.
Not bad for an old guy.
Says the youngsters in the field. Ward's going to be able to rejoin the tail end of the pack, and it will slow this race for now the 4th time, as we are just about 9 laps shy of the 1/3 distance mark of this race. Up from the backside of that car, over 40 laps into this event, that we would see so many mechanical problems. Some drivers, I'd be remiss of those types.
For a pit stop.
Family stand 99. His
something I was telling in the background. Order down in North Carolina at this point
to Tony Stevens.
Just water. So clearly they're not working.
With the advantage down the back straightaway, but Gerstner's going to throw it in up on the high side, slides it through the corner.
Got a little bit loose there on that top lane. Thought he may have had enough momentum to try to take that lead away, but it just got too free on him on corner exit. Not giving up the ghost, though. Still trying that top side. Here comes Pastriak to fill the void.
Great 4-car battle with Kyle Sisko now coming into the fray from Wall Stadium, and Sisko now comes up to the outside line, and he's going to try to chase Gerstner going into 1.
It wasn't that long ago we thought that Sisko was in danger of grenading that motor. They gotten it cooled off, and he is working his way further forward, with Gerstner still trying the outside of Ronnie Williams for the lead. Doesn't want to step too far over that edge, or it may cost him.
Gerstner is better at getting into the corner. Ronnie Williams can get the bike coming off, and you can see a slight bit of tapping going on out there, as now the 75 of Pastriak tries to look to the inside of Gerstner.
Pastriak trying to get the launch off the corner. You see Sisko starting to get a little bit busy with the hands getting off the corner as well, as we drop back to Patrick Emmerling. He was one of the cars that pitted early on in the first few cautions that we had, working outside of Gary Young Jr. Young gun Caleb Petty trying to follow him through, and Tommy Baldwin racing 7NY with his teammate Jimmy Blewett also latched on to the back Nerf bar of the 7.
Really interesting to watch these Tommy Baldwin cars today work in the outside lane of this track. It's really the unpreferred line around this half mile, but Blewett and Hetty making it work for them as they are able to roll the top, as they say in dirt racing, and be able to make some passes out there.
He's able to catch up with both Caleb Hetty and Jimmy Blewett pre-race, and the conversation was more so about these two being able to work together for the first time. Remember the big Ice Slip 300s coming up at Riverhead next week? That's when Jimmy Blewett was tagged to compete for Tommy Baldwin for the first time this year. A schedule conflict, though, for Mike Christopher Jr. opened the door for Jimmy to come south, and he wants to add his name to the list of winners in a race that is adorned, I should say, the John Blewett III Memorial entry, as this battle continues into 3.
You know, there's that monkey see, monkey do characteristic we were talking about, Eric. Jimmy Blewett was testing the outside, and now the Myers boys, they see it. They say, hey, the 76 is making some distance up there, so give it a shot. And a lot of guys trying that outside line around this track.
Some of these cars look like they're on ice when they try to get back to the throttle off the corner. Really dancing around the back end. Gary Young Jr. certainly one of them as well, who just lost a couple of spots here. Now it's Hetty working the inside. Here's Kyle Sisko moving up into what is now the 2nd spot.
Good run for Kyle Sisko, driving that PSR Products chassis modified. You know, PSR Products really coming into the fray recently as one of the modified manufacturers, one of the newest modified manufacturers, of course. Troyer being the chassis of choice for so many years, and then LFR came into the fray, and Then, of course, now PSR. There's 2 quick chassis as well, chassis dynamics, Raceworks. So there's lots of different types of cars to choose from. All of them are fast. You just got to get the speed out of them.
A lot of options for a lot of these teams as we are double wide for about 6 rows back. Jason and Burt Myers working the top. Dean Ward, who had to stop earlier, keeps peeking down to the inside 3 wide. Not sure if he's just trying to get a clear vantage point of the corner or if he's legitimately thinking about going that low on the racetrack as he does it again here to get Hetty.
He'll stick it down to the inside underneath Hetty. He's just going to wedge his way on in there. And right now, Dean Ward making some moves on the bottom right now, making that inside line work for him.
Going to kick Patrick Emmerling back in another spot after we thought he was starting to move his way further forward. There you see Jason Myers. We talked earlier in one of our brief intermission moments about an opportunity for him now to switch cars after a mechanical problem, as he's now following Jimmy Blewett through on the inside to get around Richard Savory.
Richard Savory may be having some trouble out there, but watching him drop like a rock really quick. Lost about 4 positions out there in the alloy wheel repair sponsored entry, so don't know if that number 99 has a problem in his very final year, his final race actually, in modified competition.
It's an absolutely incredible story for Savory, trying to go out on top if at all possible. Still a long way to go in this race, as now Jimmy Blewett and Jason Myers are battling for position. Blewett seems committed to the inside, giving Jason all the running room he needs up top, with Burt looking to try to follow brother Jason through perhaps, as Blewett throttles up off the corner. This race continuing on here just outside the top 5.
And you know, Eric, what the funny thing is Jason Myers was kind of bummed about going to this race car because they had mechanical trouble with their primary car, but they're doing a great job with this car. This is their tour car. They're currently running in the 6th spot out there right now.
A little bit of bumper tag behind him, or I should say Nerf bar tag behind him, is Dylan Ward, who was just on the pit lane alongside of his father, Dean Ward, as they were all almost coming together with Blewett, who continues to fall further back 3 wide in 3. Dean Ward got on the apron and nearly got into the left side of Jimmy Blewett.
That could have been real tense going into the corner. You saw Ward just jump up on the curb really quick, thought better of it, and prevented a bigger incident from happening. But here we are, 91 laps to go. That finds the number 99 of Ronnie Williams out in front right now.
While we've had a few yellows to start this race off, it's about the first time, perhaps, should it stay green, that we're going to see the leaders have to encounter the tail end of the field. We saw them go by Dennis Holdren there. Johnny Keithman is next in line of the 48, and then a pack of cars. Trouble right in front of the leader. Gavick spins off turn 2.
Tough break for Jim Gavick in that number 21 machine. Gavick was running in the 16th position at the time. Gavick from Beaumont, Pennsylvania. He is this year's winner of Rookie of the Year in the ROC Modified Tour, so congratulations to Jim Gavick. He made some tour starts this year, ran the Race of Champions just a couple of weeks ago at the Lake Erie Speedway in Lake Erie, Pennsylvania, but having a bit of a tough going here today.
Looked up momentarily. He was about 3 cars ahead of race leader Ronnie Williams towards the tail end of the pack, and that car just snapped on him coming off of turn 2. We highlighted him earlier due to that damage to the left rear. They were worried about being able to put fuel in that car. Looked as though they were able to hammer it out good enough to keep him in the running. Unfortunately, that spin nose is going to put them behind the 8 ball, and starting to see teams assemble here in a big way. As let's go back, and there you see Gavick right at that point where you get back to the gas, looping it off the second corner.
And that's exactly what he did. He just looped it off the corner as he was coming around. He was all by himself, getting back to the throttle and just breaking the car loose, and there it is right there. Nobody around him. Just spun the car and
one. Yeah, he's about to get this race back underway.
We're going to see what Jeremy Gerstner can do. He was exciting to watch on the restart. This time by, Williams gets the advantage going down the front straightaway. Much better of a hole shot than Gerstner.
Gerstner now has his hands full. He's in a Myers Brothers sandwich as they approach turn 3. Burt Myers on the bottom forces his way down through to the inside and takes second.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're having a feeding frenzy on Jeremy Gerstner right now, getting a terrible restart. Myers was able to get the shot away. Oh, trouble here in the front straightaway. Pastriak getting turned around. Don't know if he has any damage or if he made contact with the concrete, but right now it looks like there's no real serious damage to the Dolly's Collision number 75 machine. Pastriak out of Lisbon, Connecticut. A tough break for him. Started 7th at the drop of the green.
That had all the ingredients to be a big, big crash. When I looked up quickly out the window here, I saw Pastriak kind of flirting his way up towards the top side of the racetrack. I did not catch what car caught him in the right rear, but he got turned just about head-on in the fence with about 6 more rows of competitors coming up to him. Fortunately for Pastriak, he was able to drive away, and it does not appear that there is that much damage on that car. We mentioned a couple of times Brent Wentz in the year of Pastriak here today. He worked with Bobby Labonte as many other teams throughout the season. And here's a look at it. Pastriak, third car in line on the bottom. Here comes Jim Gavick up the top side, and there was the contact just shy of the start-finish line that hooked him.
It was basically, that's what it was. Jim Gavick hooked Pastriak, turned him backwards, and man, what a close call that the car didn't come all the way up the track and nose into the wall. It just spun around backwards, and Pastriak came down pit road, just got the car checked out by the crew, and he'll rejoin the field.
Yeah, Pastriak certainly looked as though he left a car width's advantage up there for Gavick to be able to take hold of before that contact. And the two-time Modified Racing Series champion, 13 wins in his MRS career, is going to be able to rejoin this race. And not many could say that after being perpendicular to the outside retaining wall, perpendicular to the field, I should say, while coming off at turn number 4 to create that caution. As we've kind of hit a point in this race where there's a little bit of yellow fever going on. 14 laps shy of that break on lap 76. Let's go down to Tony Stevens.
Motor car, he told us.
Number 62. We're
going back to the restart and look at the man taking the lead, the number 60 machine of money, Matt Hirschman, Garrett.
Hirschman, to the point, didn't take him long. In fact, coming around here to complete lap number 62 to go up to the front of the pack here as he leads at the line ahead of Burt Myers and company. Jeremy Gerstner, remember, he's on those old tires in the 55, right of your picture, and he is skating around in front of all these cars that have fresh right rears on them.
And there's a man on the move up on the outside of the track right now. That's that black and white number 76 of Jimmy Blewett. Banging Nerf bars with Ward as they go down into turn number 1. He's going to make the pass on the outside. Blewett will cut the car left and turn underneath Jeremy Gerstner to take the spot away, and he will move into the 6th position.
That's a veteran move as Gerstner sideways off the corner. And he's into the wall.
Everybody's jacked up behind him. Richard Savory involved in the number 99. He's going to shear the right front off the car. A tough break for him. And now the caution flag flies with 85 laps to go.
Boy, just as we started to pan away from that fight, I saw Gerstner towards the tail end of the camera shot lose the back end of the race car. And what a heartbreaker for this driver, Derek. I know you had a chance to catch up with him earlier, saying this may very well be his modified send-off, and that is not the way that you want it to come to an end for what is an incredibly nice guy throughout the pit area, and you see significant damage to the right front suspension of that car.
Unfortunate end for Richard Savory's career in that number 99 machine. Richard Savory, a longtime competitor in the Northeast in modified competition, in Pro 4 modified competition, and he is a past champion, a past winner of the World Series of Speedway Racing at Thompson. His father is the legend George Savory, and you can see Richard Savory walking away from his wrecked race car.
Yeah, and obviously disappointed, but no worse for the wear. I'll tell you what, I can't scale a wall like that. Let's go back and see what happened. Gerstner loose outside of turn 4, nearly collected Kievman, and boy, Savory just wrong place, wrong time. That right front went over the left rear of Gerstner's car, and we talked about this, Derek. You know, staying out on those older tires, it's a strategy ploy that is meant to pay off in a big way at the end of these races.
We are break for it.
It just slowed up enough where everybody caught back front and there.
And that wreck, competitors have some problems.
Well, apparently they on which side is larger is
on the back straightaway, 2 rows deep. Ward challenging Myers, but it's not going to work for him. Ward's going to try to slide into line. He's got some heavy hitters right behind him with Patrick Emmerling and Jimmy Blewett.
And Blewett appears rather poised to try to make up some ground here early off this restart as Emmerling and Ward made some contact there off the corner. That's going to break Emmerling's momentum. He's in danger of losing that spot to Blewett, and he will, with Blewett's teammate, Caleb Petty, following him up perhaps through Patrick Emmerling.
And right now, that number 12 of Dean Ward is holding up Jimmy Blewett because you can see him tapping and knocking. Oh, caution comes out down the back straightaway.
Caution is out, and oh no, that is Caden Lapsevich who has crashed off of turn number 4. I'll tell you what, Derek, you thought maybe something was askew on that right front. It appears you may have been correct.
As he was rolling around the access road coming onto the back straightaway, you can see the right front tire rolling under. It looked like it was going down, and made mention of it, but don't know if the tire let go and put the 99 into the wall. There's Caden Lapsevich crawling out of the car right now, so a tough break for him.
Caden, of course, as we talked about many times, initially from Ontario, Canada, the son of Jeff Lapsevich, former NASCAR Pinty Series competitor and driver. Caden himself, well-accomplished Pinty Series stock car racer as well, with a couple of wins under his belt, and made the trip down here to Mooresville, North Carolina, and you see the crew coming down here to check on the young driver who obviously a little bit frustrated after seeing his race come to a close, was really looking forward to the opportunity of wheeling these tour-type modifieds at such a prestigious event, and his race will end 67 laps in.
You can see the confusion on the driver's face right now.
Back to
Hold job.
area, guys.
And if he can hold on in a 150
shock to the modified world. But so we wish the family of Eddie Partridge the best. We're getting ready to go back to the restart.
It's going to be Hirschman and Burt Myers. A handful of laps away from that lap 76 bonus money. Hirschman on the loud pedal. We're back on the way.
Myers with a terrible restart out there. Jimmy Blewett is able to take advantage of it. He's going to shuffle into the second spot.
Yeah, Hirschman has been, pun intended, money on the restart so far here today. Definitely caught the 2021 Smart Champion sleeping there as Patrick Emmerling tries to work the top side on Caleb Petty. And what is a race for 4th position with Ronnie Williams in tow.
Good side-by-side right now. Hetty to the inside of Emmerling, and he's got the advantage going into turn number 3. It looks like he's going to hold the position over Emmerling. As the top 6, 7 start to file, single file into line. 81 laps to go still yet in this race.
Matt Hirschman and Jimmy Blewett have gone toe-to-toe so many times in their modified career. Perhaps the moments that come to mind have been at the annual Turkey Derby at Wall Stadium Speedway, where both of these drivers have been able to collect a lot of trophies over the course of that race's tenure. Here they find themselves running 1 and 2, 6 laps away from that $1,000 bonus, with Blewett trying to set up high.
Both of those drivers have actually won the Turkey Derby in the past as they come down to the stripe and put another lap up on the board. 80 laps are down, 71 laps complete, and look at Caleb Hetty. He is working on Burt Myers right now for that 3rd position.
3rd position is going to pay out $400 if he could be there at the end of that 76th lap here, and he's got a run off the corner. Got a little bit squirrely there, getting low on Myers. He makes the pass cleanly in turn 1.
Now, Caleb Hetty has just been impressive each time we have seen him in a modified this year, and a graduate of Legends Car Racing, and it was kind of a funny story how he got the ride with Tommy Baldwin. He's actually friends with Tommy Baldwin's son because they raced Legends cars together, and he was at the shop one day checking out the car, and he asked Tommy Baldwin, "Can I drive it one day?" And surprisingly, Tommy Baldwin said yes. Then let him in the car, and he won the 2nd race of the season at Florence.
And last time through, Caleb Petty was the fastest car on the racetrack as we watch this battle for the lead. And that 76th lap is coming up quickly. We're a couple laps away. Here comes Jimmy Blewett with a run off 2.
Blewett going to dive to the inside. He's got the inside line. Hirschman knows that he's there. He's just going to give it to him right now. Let Blewett have the spot. Hirschman, smart, knows there's still a lot of this race yet to go.
And Blewett now out in front with his teammate Caleb Petty starting to turn up the heat in 3rd spot as he's trying to get up to and past Matt Hirschman potentially to take over that runoff position as we come up here for car 76. Trying to lead lap 76 here with Hirschman and Petty your top 3.
Right now, Matt Hirschman playing the strategy card. There's still a long way to go in this race as Hetty goes to the 2nd spot going into turn number 3. Coming back down the line for the lap 76 halfway bonus will be Jimmy Blewett.
That was a good run there for Tommy Baldwin Racing with both cars up in the top 2. Deploying the strategy the best way that they see fit. With now Hetty starting to close up here on Blewett for the race lead.
It's a battle of the Tommy Baldwin cars, with Blewett leading the way. Blewett has won many of his brother's memorial races in the past, but has yet to win this one. He has won at Wall Stadium. They have won down in New Smyrna, but they have yet to win this race, the John Blewett III Memorial North-South Shootout.
I was talking to Caleb Hetty earlier and said, what's it like having Jimmy Blewett as a teammate to lean on, even though this was an unexpected pairing, at least for this weekend? He said, honestly, Jimmy's been great. He's been an open book, and he's been certainly fun to lean on here. We're going to throw it down to Tony Stevens with an update trackside.
Well, guys, I just ended up running by the Matt Hirschman pit to just take a check on the tire situation. Bad news for the field. There are 4 brand new slicker tires still in the 60 car pit.
And that's exactly why Matt Hirschman let the leaders go, because he realizes this race is far from over. We're going to see another caution before it's done, and that's going to give him enough to be able to come in and put for Mr. Feelgoods, as Darrell Waltrip calls him, on the car.
Makes it all the more impressive that he's running in third right now. We've seen what it's been like to try to maintain the tires in which you started on in this race throughout the duration of this point, and he's still doing a great job holding down a podium spot with Burt Myers trying to close up here. Not too far behind them is Patrick Emmerling as we check back in on the leaders. And Tommy Baldwin's got to be loving this, of course. See these 2 cars out in front of parading the field. But Derek, I think you're right. I think it may very well be the next yellow that we see that may potentially turn this race upside down.
Still a long way to go in this event, especially with the amount of cars that are left out there on the racetrack right now. We still have 18 cars that are still competing and running laps. We started with 23, so we have not lost many cars out there. Attrition has not come into effect. But right now, here is the story of both Baldwin cars, and we're got a caution to slow everything down, and it looks like Chris Pasteryak spins it up to the top of the track.
Second time today that we've seen the 75 car in trouble to slow us down at Lisbon, Connecticut. Pasteryak, who initially, when he brought out the first caution that he was involved in earlier on in this race, ended up against the outside retaining wall. And you can see here the true root cause may be a
pole challenge, the extra $2,000
to take part in this race. Keep
how much this, see him rolling right along
on at the cup here at the left side. Information or perhaps an up
community Reno, the wife
tires down here in the turn 4 end of the pit lane. They too,
these officials walk. Let's go back as we look at the field here from this and succeed as they hit the toe and with a trophy today by Jimmy Blewett.
Field, you can see how far back Matt Hirschman is starting, but keep an eye on him because he is going to come to the front real quick. He has 2 fresh right side tires on that car, and he is ready to rock and roll. Speaking of rock and roll, here we go, back to green flag action. Emmerling hooks the curb on the inside. He's going to lose some ground to Ronnie Williams. Williams is going to have the advantage going into the third corner.
Well, that was really close between Emmerling and Williams in that battle for third spot off of 4. They almost came together. Emmerling not quite ready to concede the spot as Williams tries to pin him tight through 1 and 2, and he will take that spot away. Car on the wall! Oh. Trouble. That's Dean Ward in the fence.
Dean Ward gets turned into the fence going down the back straightaway, rips the right front back on the car, and unfortunately he will skate to the inside and to the bottom of the track and come to a stop in the Ward Performance Eliminator sponsored number 12 machine.
I believe he was racing with Paul Hall for position up towards the front of the pack. They were racing for 7th spot when it looked like they came together off turn 2. And that incident, of course, could have been much worse with Ward's car coming off the wall with not much control and more of the pack bearing down on him. We see Dean moving around in the car. That wasn't too brutal of an impact to the right front, but it will be enough damage to add him to what is a growing list of drivers who have been taken out of this event off of Dean's car. Petty on the front row for the restart. Ronnie Williams and Patrick Emmerling in row 2 when they hit the line this time by 59 laps to go.
Jimmy Blewett with a great restart gets the advantage over Caleb Hetty. Williams is going to try to pull down on the inside and challenge for that second position. Here comes Gary Putnam. Williams is going to pull him along too.
Williams working that inside lane here. It's Hetty trying to pinch him off a little bit as they come out of 4. Both cars get a little tail happy coming back down the main straightaway with Hetty protecting the second spot. Emmerling rim riding up the top side to try to get 3rd.
Emmerling made some adjustments on that car. They tried to get it working to the driver's liking, but it looks like the outside not working for him right now. Skating it around just slightly as Emmerling will lose the spot to Williams.
Emmerling now going to try the low side, if at all possible, here to get back underneath Ronnie Williams for that position. Remember, Ronnie Williams led a lot of the first portion of this race, and through the pit strategy has cycled his way back up, and here's a fight for the lead.
Caleb Hetty looks to the inside of Jimmy Blewett, but that's all it was, is just a look, as Hetty is going to file back in the line in that second spot. Hetty is probably eyeing him up right now, trying to figure out where his slowest point is around the racetrack so he can try to take advantage of that and take the lead away.
Yeah, Caleb Hetty is somebody who, as we mentioned, adapted to these cars rather quickly. Derek already alluded to how Hetty got this opportunity to compete with this team. We mentioned his win at Florence. That came after a hard practice crash, which would have ruined the confidence of any young racer. But not this young driver. He's alongside Jimmy Blewett for the lead as they come out of 2.
Little bit of contact right there, but Blewett hanging tough on the outside, Hetty on the inside, and we've seen Blewett working that top line of the speedway all race long. It looks like he's been getting through the top line better than anyone today, but Hetty has the advantage on the bottom.
Spotter Brad Newman letting them know that Blewett's out there. And in fact, Hetty is starting to inch further forward as they come into 3. Jimmy's going to fight back on the top side. Tommy Baldwin's going to be clenching his teeth watching his 2 cars run side by side as Hetty cements the lead.
Hetty has the lead right now. Jimmy Blewett had to relinquish it as Hetty now puts a little bit of daylight between himself and second place. Still 52 laps to go in this race, and the big question is where is Matt Hirschman? Well, he's up in the 7th position right now. 7th spot, just outside the top 5. And Eric, we're going to see another caution before this race is over.
You would have to imagine, especially with all the pushing and shoving we're seeing in this fight, as Jeremy Gerstner has offered a couple of love taps to the backside of Patrick Emmerling the last lap or so. And Matt Hirschman, you see him there ease up off these 2 just in case things get a little bit too physical. He's got Dennis Holdren riding in his shadow, does Hirschman, with Emmerling trying to protect the spot on Gerstner right now. This the race for 5th.
Jeremy Gerstner looking to the inside of Patrick Emmerling. 2 champions going at it. 1 SMRS champion, 1 ROC champion. So it really gives you an idea of the talent that is out there in the field. Gerstner now to the inside of Emmerling. He's going to take the spot away.
That's going to kick Emmerling up high enough to allow Hirschman to come through as well. He's going to come back through and get the spot away from Patrick Emmerling. Dennis Holdren is going to follow suit as Emmerling appears to be struggling a little bit. Still, though, a long ways to go. 47 to go when the leaders get back to the stripe next time through. And this fight for the lead is tightened back up.
Nice run for Dennis Holdren. Started 18th, and he is currently 7th on the field. So, good strong run for the 07 car this afternoon. But action goes back to the leaders, and now it's going to turn into a 3-car race. Jimmy Blewett hits the curbing on the inside of turn number 4. That's going to slow him up a little bit and put him right into the clutches of Ronnie Williams.
That's a rare mistake out of Blewett there. Surprised he was able to keep the steering wheel in his hands. That was so abrupt till that car darted up right. With Hetty now opening up about a car length and a half of breathing room between he and Blewett, who has Ronnie Williams all over the back Nerf bar with a lap car ahead and Chris Pastriak just in front of these top 3.
No real bids for position just yet as Hetty continues to lead the way. Jimmy Blewett so solid all weekend long. Originally wasn't his plan to come down here to compete in this race, but last minute changes, got a call from Tommy Baldwin to come down and race. Trouble in the back straightaway. Oh, Gary Young Jr. going around, and wow, that could have been a lot worse, Eric.
My heart is currently down at the bottom of my stomach because I looked up and saw Gary Young Jr. sideways, and the leaders were coming on him or upon him with a full head of steam, and Young had the driver's side door positioned towards traffic, and that would have been an awful incident if it wasn't for heads-up driving, and I'm sure heads-up spotting by Pastriak and the front three, who were able to navigate around Gary Young Jr.'s car on the high side.
Well, we can all breathe a quick sigh of relief, right?
You could hear the air leave the tower. I mean, the officials are stationed to our left up here, and we heard their reaction, and it was simultaneous with the way that all of us were feeling watching that unfold, because it happened quickly. And for Young Jr., thank goodness he had an opportunity to relieve himself earlier, because he would have let it go right there once he saw those cars coming.
Yeah, definitely a moment where that would have definitely happened, but very Gary Young Jr. being able to drive away. And here's the replay as they come off the corner. Everybody just splits, and Ronnie Williams almost slid it sideways into the wall, so real heads up by him to avoid it. But let's watch this one more time as they come off the corner. They come around this bend, and there's the 45 sideways in front of everybody, and Ronnie Williams, whoa, just kicked her sideways to avoid the 45, and everybody was heads up to get on through.
For Gary Young Jr., I got to give him a lot of credit. That car was rolling backwards, and he was smart enough to get on the brakes. If it would have kept rolling towards the outside retaining wall, we definitely would have had a major accident that would have collected some of the front runners there. If it wasn't for Young's ability to think quickly and stop that car from continuing to roll up towards of the racetrack, that would have been much, much worse.
A lot of the veterans will tell you over the years, if you get sideways, just lock it down. Don't try sliding across the track. And here come the leaders down to the pits. Let's throw it down to Tony Stevens. It's going to get busy down there, Tony, isn't it?
It is going to get very, very busy. In fact, here come, well, pretty much all the leaders. Caleb Heddy is in. He tries to make up a little bit of time, nearly overshoots the sign. Looks like they'll be going to at least a left rear, possibly a right rear. So it looks like rear tires on Caleb Heddy. Ronnie Williams is in. Matt Hirschman is in, immediately in front of our camera. Looks like they'll get a chance to put at least one, now two rear tires on the number 60 of Hirschman. This is going to come down to the pit crews at this point, guys. Whichever team can get the job done quickest and win this race off pit road may end up in position to win the 19th annual North-South Shootout. Hirschman's crew is finished. He'll win the race off the pit lane. Caleb Heddy nearly got blocked in by Ronnie Williams. He'll come off second. After that, Patrick Emmerling, he has got two sticker right side tires on the 07. So a couple of different pit strategies up front as Williams now is down and away. He will be the fourth car off pit road. Blewett will be the fifth car off in the lineup. He has got three new stickers on his car, the left front being the only one that is not. Gary Putnam also finishing service. Jason Myers has got brand new right side tires on the 4 car, and the 55 of Jeremy Gerstner also down, although no right side no right side stickers on his car. So yes, very, very.
Myers on right.
Well, Ewan, who is up out of caution. Really, are the cars that did not stop on this go-around of pit stops as they come across the choose cone here, and we are a lap away potentially from getting this race back underway.
Well, Dennis Holdren better get the restart of his life because he has got some heavy hitters behind him. Kyle Sisko, Burt Myers, Dean getting ready to come back to the green. Green flag flies. We're back underway. Holdren spins the tires on the restart.
And Gavick, the ROC rookie, trying to take the lead of the North Shootout on the outside of Holdren as they head down the backstretch into turn 3.
Side-by-side battle for that top spot out there. The 07, getting a tag from behind from Kyle Sisko. Sisko letting Holdren know you're holding up the line. He's trying to shove his way through.
Sisko wants to go. Highest running car that came off the pit lane right now is that of Jimmy Blewett, who's up to 4th with Hirschman behind him. Check that 5th as Gavick runs wide off the corner. He'll give up the lead to Holdren. Here comes Sisko down low for 2nd spot. Burt Myers to follow. And you see Blewett and Hirschman enter your picture.
Holdren doing a fine job in that 07, being able to hold back some of these heavy hitters as Sisko, his first time here, running in that 2nd spot right now. Problems with one of the Blewett cars. You saw it puff a smoke out of it and then slow down the front straightaway. Everybody hard into the outside wall.
My goodness, what a crash. And Jeremy Gerstner
we
climbs
have cars.
the tire barrier out of the back straightaway.
We have cars all over the place. Gary Putnam also sitting backwards as well. And it looks like we are going to throw the red flag to bring this race to a stop. We've got multiple cars damaged on the back straightaway. All attention right now is on that number 21 machine of Jim Gavick, who nosed it hard into the wall with the right front corner.
Yeah, Derek, watching it live, we saw something happen to Jimmy Blewett's car. We saw a puff of smoke. It almost looked like he ran over a water bottle or something, and he was able to continue on. Gavick reacted, went to the high side, and ended up atop a three-wide battle, made contact with Patrick Emmerling, who was trying to go by, and it shot that car so hard into the outside wall. And as Emmerling continued on, he and Gerstner got together, and Gerstner's car almost went over.
He's enjoying that hot coffee and hot chocolate.
Scraped across it with the left side, and that was just a unique incident. Watch Blewett's car here.
There's the puff of smoke out the front end. You see the car lose power for just a second, and everybody kind of scrambles. Emmerling in the middle. He makes contact with Hirschman.
And I'm sure that they're perhaps to the tow truck, and I'm sure that are the only three remaining at the.
Too strong for him as he is able to make the pass and take the position away. This is a bumper from.
The unfortunate part of this timing of the caution is it's going to revert back to the lineup that we had when we tried this the first time. So it's Holden and Cisco, front row again. Jimmy Blewett on the fresh tires. Burt Myers up top. Hirschman, your top five. Let's try it again. 109 laps complete. Restart underway.
Much better start for Dennis Holden. Was able to keep Cisco right next to him as they come off of turn two. He's going to wiggle the car down the back straightaway. That's going to cause him to lose ground to Cisco as Holdren catches a bumper from behind from Jimmy Blewett.
Right now, everybody's trying to abandon ship on that low line, trying to get around the Roanoke, Virginia driver of Dennis Holdren, who's done an amazing job. Hirschman tried to get through the middle and nearly lost the race car.
Almost contact. Actually, there was contact, but it could have been a lot bigger. Everybody trying to make it through. They're trying to figure out how to get past that 07 of Dennis Holdren as here comes Matt Hirschman working the top line of the track.
Visually seeing the difference of those cars that stopped and put on tires while Kyle Cisco ran the fastest lap of the race up front. Move for second. That's Blewett taking over the second spot. Hirschman now trying to follow. They've got Burt Myers sandwiched between the two of them. Trouble. Caleb Hetty.
Ronnie Williams taking a wide arc around everyone. Hetty drives it down on pit road. We remain green out there. No caution flag, and boy, did that shuffle a bunch of positions.
That was an unbelievable save and a tour type modified for the youngster out of Shelbyville, Kentucky. Caleb Hetty hangs on to the race car, and we stay green.
And there's Hetty going to the inside of Ward in the number 21 machine, trying to make up some of that ground that he lost out there. Ward tries to keep him tight to the bottom, but can't hold that white number 7 back. Here comes Ronnie Williams into the fray as well.
Williams was ping-ponging his way off the side of Dylan Ward's car down to turn number 1. That last time through, trying to work his way back up towards the front of the field after Hetty was able to rebound. Last few laps, fastest car on the racetrack was that of Blewett. Hetty now goes to the fastest as far as top of the charts. Contact here between Williams and Ward.
Ward trying to keep Williams tight to the bottom to keep from getting that momentum to come up off, but Williams too strong for him as he is able to make the pass and take the position away.
And here's the fight for third starting to intensify. That's Burt Myers holding onto the spot. Matt Hirschman looking for a way by as the top two have driven further up the picture. Down to the line here, Myers doing everything possible to defend this spot as he washes wide off at 2. Hirschman's got to run.
And there is the inside. The door's been open for Matt Hirschman. He's going to try to step on through, and he does. He's got the inside line on Burt Myers, and it looks like he is going to drive away from the black number 1 car.
Question is now, how long will it take for Hirschman to get on up there? Let's backside of Tony Stevens.
Jeremy Gerster down here, out of the race. What happened?
I missed the wreck on the back stretch coming out of 2. 77 come down, hit my right front, put me in the inside wall. I hate it for the guys. You know, for Jerry Hunt Super Center, we had a great car. We had an easy top 3 car. Worse, we were just pacing ourselves. We already had our tires with 40 to go. But you know, it's part of racing. We'll just soldier on for speed weeks.
That's Jeremy Gerster out of the race early.
Jeremy Gerstner, a former Florida modified champion, SMRS champion, two-time SMRS champion, and he has a lot of fun when he comes up here and he races these pavement modifieds, and he's looking forward to Speed Weeks next year.
At the front of the pack, a couple of drivers who cut their teeth at the same venue up at Wall Stadium Speedway, where today a number of drivers and teams are up there practicing for the upcoming Turkey Derby that will run not only on Thanksgiving weekend, but the week before. And Kyle Sisko and his PSR Products number 17 holding court ahead of Jimmy Blewett, who clipped the apron yet again the last time through, with Matt Hirschman, cue the Jaws music, closing.
Yeah, Matt Hirschman right now is starting to reel in your leaders. Sisko, your leader in the PSR Products number 17, being owned by Phil Stefanelli. In second place, Jimmy Blewett, car owned by Tommy Baldwin. And third spot, Matt Hirschman, the car owned by Roy Hall. And slowly but surely, with each and every lap that clicks away, Hirschman is making his way into this picture.
Got a car off the pace on the back straightaway. That's Dylan Ward. Not sure if he's going to make it back to the pit area. And the caution is going to fly with 26 laps to go. Yellow flag is out, and the bad luck for the Ward family continues after his father made contact with the outside retaining wall in the backstretch. Now Dylan Ward rolls to a stop at the center of the straightaway, not too far from where his father's car came to rest to end his north-south shootout a few laps ago.
Dylan Ward bringing the car to a stop, and unfortunately, he was the cause of the caution flag, but now we're going to throw it back downstairs to hear from Tony Stevens.
Well, Eric, when he came by us, the 21 of Ward had no sound coming out of the header pipes. He was weaving the car back and forth, and that's usually a telltale sign that, yes, it is in fact out of fuel.
Thank you very much, Tony Stevens. And yeah, car being out of fuel, we have gone a pretty good distance so far today. And right now, Dylan Ward getting the nudge.
The north-south shootout, and
Via North Carolina, Caraway Speedway. And he's falling out of car.
did 26 laps away from settling it.
Jimmy Blewett's been pretty strong on the outside for most of the day. We're going to see if he can make that top line work for him on the restart. Sisko gets a terrible restart. Jimmy Blewett almost spun the tires a little bit. And Blewett has the advantage off two.
Oh, big bobble there by Sisko off the corner. Opens the door for Matt Hirschman to peek inside. He's not going to quite get there just yet. Blewett leads them off of turn 4.
Kyle Sisko, the number 17 machine, won one race earlier this year at the Wall Stadium, but those were SK type of modifieds. It's really one of the few times he's driven a tour type modified, doing a fine job out there against some real heavy hitters in the modified racing world. Matt Hirschman in the third spot. Now we're looking at Caleb Hetty leading that line of cars that has Burt Myers and Ronnie Williams behind him.
Hetty is someone who probably should have lost that race car in turns 1 and 2 a handful of laps ago. That car was completely sideways, and he's working his way back up into the picture while Hirschman continues to pressure the young driver in Sisko, who holds on to second place, but he washes up the hill out of 2.
Sisko leaves the inside open, and that allows Matt Hirschman to stick his foot in the door, and he'll take that runner-up spot away. 23 laps to go, 22 laps to go as they come to the stripe.
Hirschman up to second, going to try to close in here on Blewett as Caleb Hetty has entered your frame. Up into that fourth spot, side by side for fifth behind him, but Hirschman is there.
Give Hirschman a rod and reel because he is reeling in the leader really quick. The number 60 just gave Jimmy Blewett a slight tap going into the corner to let him know, hey, I'm here. He took the back row challenge. The money is on the line, and Money Matt comes to the top, and they both hit the curb off turn 4.
Blewett's going to do everything he can to make that car as wide as possible. Here's Hirschman with a shot to the backside of Blewett as they came out of turn 2 there. We'll see how low both of these drivers take it down to 3 and 4. Blewett apparently trying to slow up the pace here a little bit. That's allowing Sisko and Hetty to come back into the fight.
Blewett running just a little bit lower as he comes off the corner, trying to take away the line that Matt Hirschman has that has allowed him to be so fast out there. And Hirschman now trying to figure out which way Blewett is going to go. We've seen Hirschman work on Blewett, and he tries to just swing the car a little wide going in and then make that crisscross move turn left down under him coming off the corner and drag race down into the next corner. That's usually how the passes are made at this racetrack. But right now, Blewett just trying to cut off the line that Hirschman can run to make that pass.
And I think that's exactly it, Derek. I think that's why Blewett's attacking the corners the way he is. He doesn't want Hirschman to get that late apex off and power his way past him on the straightaway. This is defensive driving at its finest. These drivers were just conversing on the front straightaway over 20 laps ago. Now they're racing for the win, with Hirschman looking to be a tip faster at this point.
I doubt very much either one of them said what they were going to do when they went back to green flag racing, because right now they're both trying to outsmart each other by just running in those two positions. Blewett trying to win this race, Hirschman trying to win it for the 7th time in his career.
The Blewett name is on the win column, but it was brother John who was able to win this race twice in the North-South Shootouts history. Jimmy trying to add his list to that name, but Matt Hirschman has a lot of reasons as to why he wants to get around the 76 car, and it's added or increased by $2,000. He's got to run.
And there, Jimmy Blewett closes the door one more time. Jimmy Blewett has got to try to make the back bumper of his car really wide for the next 13 laps around this track to keep Big Money Matt behind him.
Despite how heavy these two are racing for the lead, Caleb Petty, who is up to third, not able to close in. It's a 2-car race at this point, with Hirschman being as kind as possible at this point. He gets loose there in the second spot off of 4.
The big question right now is how long can Jimmy Blewett hold off Matt Hirschman? Hirschman has the faster car. He's trying to figure out a way to get by. Jimmy Blewett trying to make that bumper about 30 feet wide down the back straightaway into the corners.
Jimmy Blewett lives up to the nickname Showtime, and he's put himself in a position here to be in the spotlight at the right time, doing everything he can to hold off Hirschman. The fastest driver in qualifying has charged up through the field. They both have played the strategy to near perfection, and it's going to be a 10-lap shootout amongst the two of them should this race stay green.
Blewett took on 3 brand new tires. Hirschman took on 2 fresh right sides. Blewett has the fresher rubber of the two, but right now the one car that's working better out there on the track handling-wise is Matt Hirschman. Trying to keep that number 60 behind him. This is the fight for the lead. We've got less than 10 laps to go, Eric.
And Hirschman is not someone who is known to be very aggressive in order to get a job done. When he tries to win races, he wants to do them in the clean fashion. I would expect that trend to continue here, but laps are clicking away. Less than 8 to go, and now Hirschman starting to get a little bit loose off the corner.
Hirschman trying to make that wide arc in to crisscross and make that cut down under the corner. But now we've got caution. Caution flag. Jason Myers slow off of turn number 2. So he can make the pass.
Take away that opportunity.
Tough weekend in spring car.
So much lane here.
The pedal will go to the floor. Flag stand. Broke rear end in the race. I mean, I've been
lap money. The rear end that they just have to put together just a lap and a half, and they will find themselves around the.
For him to win this year's running of the North-South. Hirschman powers.
Great. Very much, Tony Stevens, and yes, we are ready to go back to the restart. Can Jimmy Blewett hang on for the biggest win of his career in his brother's memorial race? Green flag flies. We're back at it.
Caleb Petty trying to fill that hole on the inside of Hirschman. Blewett real sideways off the corner. Hirschman powers past on the outside to take the lead in 3.
And the advantage that Jimmy Blewett thought he had completely went away when he spun the tires, and that gave it right there to Matt Hirschman. Money Matt in that black and orange number 60 leads the way down the back straightaway with just 6 laps to go, and it's going to be really hard to beat him at this moment.
Hirschman, the leader. Blewett second. Hetty third. Cisco in fourth. Myers fifth. A lap ago, Pastriak scrubbed the wall in the front straightaway. The race stays green. Blewett looking for an opportunity, but Matt Hirschman is starting to drive away.
You can see Jimmy Blewett just wheeling the car, too. That car is just sliding around like it's on ice. You can watch him sawing back and forth on the wheel, just trying to keep control of the car as he's got Caleb Hetty right behind him. And as the laps click away, look at Matt Hirschman just putting daylight between himself and second place. 4 laps to go, and he's pulling away.
So many storylines to pluck throughout this field. You've got the Tommy Baldwin cars winning second and third right now. That slight slip by Jimmy Blewett off the restart out of 2 may have taken away the opportunity for him to win this year's running of the North-South Shootout. Behind these two comes out of Kyle Sisko and Burt Myers. 2 laps to go on Matt Hirschman.
Just 1 mile around the track. You can see the Hirschman crew clapping and cheering. They know that they just have to put together just a lap and a half, and they will find themselves in victory lane at the North-South Shootout yet again. Lap money, the rear row challenge, the bonus money that they had coming into this race. Matt Hirschman comes down the back straightaway in the PD Motorsports number 60 through the final 2 corners, and for the 7th time in his career, Matt Hirschman will win the North-South Shootout.
Hirschman with the win. Jimmy Blewett has to settle for second. Tommy Baldwin Racing, 2 of the top 3 cars in the field with Caleb Petty.